Today we're going to talk about Maryland, but not the one on the East Coast, the one on the West Coast of Africa. Hi, I'm Mark Giordano. This is Maps with Mark. This is a map of Maryland and Africa, what used to be an independent country and is now part of the country of Liberia. In the early 19th century, there was the question of the fate of freed Black people in the United States. Amongst whites, there were two schools of thought. One believed that the only real opportunity for Black emancipation was a new home outside of the United States. Another group, shortly after the Haitian Revolution, believed that a large population of freedmen would only increase the chances of a slave rebellion within the US. Amongst Black Americans, there are also two schools of thought. One did believe that emancipation could be better found outside of the United States. The same group was also largely Christian and was interested in bringing a Christianizing mission to Africa. While for very different reasons, the first three groups supported the idea of freedmen leaving the United States. A fourth group, who were freedmen themselves, were against relocation, in part because it would reduce the numbers and power of freedmen who remained. Even Georgetown University considered freeing its enslaved peoples and sending them to Liberia. Instead, they were later sold and transported to Louisiana. So who ended up in Maryland and Africa? Those who went came from different backgrounds. In some cases, it was freedmen who voluntarily took the opportunity. In other cases, plantation owners agreed to free their enslaved peoples only on the condition that they went to Maryland and Africa. By the end of the Civil War, about 13,000 freedmen had been relocated to Liberia. By the end of the 19th century, about 30,000, though some returned and many died of disease. The idea of Maryland and Africa came in part by copying the British effort to set up a new colony in West Africa called Sierra Leone. Liberia was one of the few places in Africa that was not colonized by a European power, yet it still faced many of the consequences of colonization through this enterprise. For example, clashes of culture, clashes of power, and differences in education levels. We can see some of the roots of Liberia's painful civil war of the late 20th century emanating from this migration period. This map matters because it illustrates an early example of planned relocation at about the same time as the Indian Removal Act. There were many consequences, some of them intended, some unintended, and all of them long-lasting.